Topic Tuesday. So I am here with Gabriel Roots-Gank, aka Deadclaw, aka Viking Overlord. So, to start out,
Hello.
we are going to explain how all this started and go over why we're here, why we are doing the stream. Gabe, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so as you've heard, my name is Gabe, and I go by two other names, Deadclaw and Viking Overlord. Oh gosh, I haven't really done this before, so it might be a bit. Trying to think.
Take your time.
So this whole thing started because I got myself into some drama that I shouldn't have, and because of that, well, this is where we're at. This is kind of the aftermath. I'm gonna break this phone. This is kind of the aftermath, I guess you could say, of this troll coming in and going on to some other streamers' Twitch streams and doing this sort of crap, trolling and trying to get me into trouble for no apparent reason.
Right.
I have reason to believe that it is one person and that they're just using multiple accounts and all this stuff, and Twitch needs to fix that because
of course. My mods and I have been kind of keeping an eye on the situation, reporting these trolls whenever they pop up, stuff like that. Our goal has been to actually get them IP blocked, so.
Yeah. That would make everything so much easier too.
Right.
Also,
hi Melody, welcome to the stream.
Anyways, so I guess I should probably mention what this was all about. So the YouTuber was Airsoft Fatty, and Airsoft Fatty, he's a decent subscribed YouTuber. He's about I think 400 to 500,000 subscribers, and I got myself into. I lived with him for and his mom for many years, like 2 or 3 years, somewhere around there. And some things happened, and so I went out to expose the truth because people need to know that, this is just not okay for this kind of stuff to happen. And my friends, this was back when I was in school, messaged me and was like, "Hey, Gabe, we've seen you on Reddit." It's like, what do you mean? And I don't use Reddit because, well, I just don't have the time for that. Someone had made an account and checked it out, and I see my name on there. I was like, wait, hold the fuck up. How did they get this far? I go to the video and it's over 1,000 views, and I was like, okay, nah. And it also gained me subscribers too. Usually how I do YouTube, I didn't expect that to happen. Yeah, it's good to have all that stuff, but that's too much attention that I was not ready for at the time. And because of that, the trolls were like, "Hey, yo, let's troll this kid and stuff." And after I had mentioned that I was making a TV show, that kind of fucked things over for me as well. I know that the best for me were to just, leave it as it is and said nothing about if anyone commented, "Oh, this and that," I would just, delete it, this and that, because I just did not think it would be a good idea to go along more with. And I do regret it because now, of course, look what's happening. They're going after small streamers. They're, doing this and that to people. And I'm trying my best to, tell people hey, look, this is happening. You got to pay attention. Be careful with these usernames to join, because you always use deadclaw.com, which is the name of the website for my TV show, which I still don't understand. Because they went to a veterans Discord server, and that pissed me off because I respect the military, even though I don't like this. Okay, I'm not gonna get to that. Even though stuff happens here, but they went to this guy's server and started calling him weak, made fun of him for being disabled, and this and that. So Ron, who was the friend of this guy, he went to one of my team members, and that's how I contacted them. And so as of like this, went to a VC, and I was like, so because I wanted them to know that I was being genuine. If it's just text, I mean, anyone could say that, oh, they're sorry if this is happening, this and that, but then turn around and do it again. I think doing it this way, it's a lot easier, and it's more of being genuine, especially with my face showing, that way people know that I'm being serious. But after, I guess the trolls somehow found out that, and I have no idea because I had never mentioned it in my server or anywhere else, that they came to me and I talked to them. And I can pull up the, hold on. Where is he? Hold on. They, after that during that call actually is when he had messaged me what they told him, calling him, gosh, where is it? Here it is. Okay.
Kind of like how they were pretending to be you, coming onto my streams, harassing me on Reddit and whatnot.
Yep.
Calling me a pedophile, threatening
That's
to call
exactly
CPS
right.
and all this other stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were doing that to another guy too, Jordan K. So this is what they sent him. You snitched on the wrong person, boy. You ever heard of have you ever heard the saying, don't lie to a liar? Yeah, that's right. You messed with the wrong one, buddy. Weak, pathetic boy. And that just that set me off. Now, the thing that I have said, like before, I have mentioned, don't lie to a liar, because when I was younger, I used to lie a whole lot. And so when people lie, I can catch it, but I usually don't say anything about it because I feel like it's usually being an asshole. Yeah. So I just I just keep my mouth shut on that. And and then of course they continue to do this. They did it to another person, another YouTube Twitch streamer. And at first she didn't trust me. She didn't think I was. She thought I was part of this whole thing, and that someone said that I said that we had this big plan in my server, that we were going to nuke servers and this and that stuff. My server is not all about that. We aren't all about that. I know there's some idiots in there. Yeah, I will agree with that. But we ain't ever had plans to do that to anyone, and we never will. I never will. I never have any plans like that. Using my name, I mean, at this point, it's pretty much slandering. But it is slander. Sorry. Anyways, so. Oh gosh, trying to think of what else. Shit. Trying to remember my place. Where was that?
Take your time. We are in no rush. These streams usually last anywhere from 1 hour to 2. So.
But anyways, these trolls started coming in. And I mean, at this point, it's just the one. They're just, impersonating me. Yeah. And I do have, I've always had a problem with people going around impersonating me, pretending to be me when they're not. Using my photos, using photos that they shouldn't be using at all.
Right.
And trying to put my TV show under a bad name, which that even sets me off too. I mean, for them to come in and call me a homophobe and stuff like that, it's like, my TV show isn't set around everyone part of the LGBTQ even, because I'm a supporter of those. I'm pansexual myself, actually.
Yeah.
And I put no hate to anyone. Now, the only people I do hate are the trolls. My server, everyone's allowed to out troll the troll.
Right.
I believe that there's nothing wrong with that, because they fucking deserve it. I mean, come on. You're gonna go around bullying people using, going under my name and stuff. The other problem too with these trolls is that they like to take screenshots and then edit the screenshot to make it look like we're people are the bad guys or whatever.
Right.
And that's also a big problem. And what they don't know, Yeah. What's a good thing though, and I'll send you that so that way you have it too, just in case. There's things that you can use that will know that it fits, if like a screenshot or image has been tampered with.
Yeah.
And so these, I mean, if we can figure that out, if I can find out what it is, because like, he posted it on Twitter.
Right.
That will basically prove the trolls, that they're in no control, and they never were anyways. One of the guys that we had in, Grey Wolf, he's a good friend of mine. They messaged he doesn't have he said that like part of his brain, like some part of his brain or something was missing, and trying to think. Yeah, they messaged him. He supposedly, when it was fake, of course. They said they faked it and said, "Kill yourself. We don't want your trolling kind around these parts." He never, of course, said that, and it was obvious too, because like the spelling was definitely, not his. So that's how I know. With most of his sentences, in caps, the first letter. So that's another thing that I've noticed as well. So that's how I know that it definitely is fake, and that's also how you can tell if someone's also faking in a screenshot or a message or anything by how it's edited. Capitalization, punctuations, all that good stuff.
So that's actually part of the reason why I reached out to you, because I sent you screenshots of the person that was sending me information about you and whatnot, and trying to get me to come after you and stuff like that. Being like, "Oh yeah, this is the person who's doing it. You need to shut it down. I'm just doing it because I care. I've seen him harass so many people." And like, I am full on against, like, if you're going to harass me, I am going to try and prevent that. If I can't do it through being wholesome, I'll do it through other, still legal methods. So while I was trying to figure out, like, who are you, why are you doing this, what's going on in your life that would cause you to want to do this? Because that's just the kind of person I am. I'm always eager to forgive and, move on and make a friend. I actually started going through your Twitter page and everything, and I started to notice that the things that were being sent to me over Reddit, over Twitch and whatnot, didn't match your speech pattern. It seemed to resemble someone trying to match it, but it wasn't, there were subtle things that were off.
Yeah, and so I just don't get how they think that they can continue to do this and think that they're getting away with it, because they're really not. And I've been trying my best to get law enforcement involved, because I actually did, because they doxed me. I already did let the my local PD know, because you never know, they could pop in anytime and say that I threatened to shoot up a school, or say that I threatened to rob a bank, or this and that. They can go with anything. My house could be swatted at any minute, any time. Even right now, as we are speaking, there's probably a SWAT car coming up to the apartment. Not saying that it's happening. At least I don't think so. I hope that these trolls won't be that stupid to do this. I mean, if they do.
Yeah, I agree.
Fuck. Just hope they don't shoot me before I open the door. Yeah.
I get that.
Because there's also been instances of that, and then sometimes these people have never been caught either.
Right. And that is something that worries me, because, like, with one of my more recent streams, they did dox me on stream. They used my dead name, where I work, like, all this other stuff. The only reason I'm not as worried about it is because, one, that information is already pretty widely available. I want to be a public figure. I want people to know about me. I want people to see me and where I've been and where I'm going, because that is part of my journey as a trans woman who is transitioning in the public eye. I want people to see that. And so thankfully, like, my bosses, my coworkers, they know about all the stuff that I do online. They know that I've been doxxed. I was very upfront with them, like, hey, this is what happened. I might get harassed. This stuff might be, said or called in. So, like, you do what you gotta do to keep yourself safe. Just please keep this in mind, So I am thankful that I do have that community IRL that does help keep me safe.
Yeah. Speaking, this whole thing, was going on for a year now. And it is just very frightening to think about that at any time, someone could be knocking at your door, saying this and that, and then sometimes these trolls they get away with it,
Right.
especially if they're in a different country too. And I have some speculation that they could be in a different country. I know one of the trolls I did find out was in hold on, Bangladesh, I think.
Bangladesh.
You're saying that right? And so what was that?
Bangladesh.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right there. I did find out from because they were stupid enough to actually post their YouTube channel onto a Deadclaw Reddit that they had made.
Right.
And gosh, it was a fucking disaster. And so hold on. They and the other thing, speaking of, oh wait, this one I haven't seen. Oh, never mind, this is the same one. Anyways, saying that they aren't me, but then going by the dates of like my TV show and stuff. This is when around 4 months ago is when the impersonation started.
Yeah.
And then going on to the Airsoft Fatty subreddit and saying that that I am not gay, but I am making, and it's literally the same fucking plot, the same everything that I have planned for this show.
Right.
And it's just, it's a cycle. Oh, his account got terminated. That's awesome. Good. Anyways, hold on. Yeah, so Bangladesh, yeah, that is where he is from. That's where his location details is coming up from his YouTube channel. And then he has 2 videos, both from a year ago, and they were, I think, looks like PUBG or some sort of battle royale game. And they're really not good. Anyways, like I said, it was just going on about how he's been Deadclaw this whole time, this and that, and it's like, no, I created Deadclaw like almost 6 years ago, more than that. And that's why I've also gone by Viking Overlord too, because Deadclaw is about a fucking, it's about superheroes, not a fucking super villain. That's at this point is what it seems like.
Yeah.
Turning a hero, something that stands for good, into something bad.
Right.
It's like it's ridiculous, and I hope eventually that they'll be put to a stop.
Yeah, I agree.
For all this, and if that happens, because like people have told me to. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that is hopefully part of what this stream and the video will do once I've uploaded it to YouTube is when people Google your name, this YouTube video will show up and they'll be able to go and watch it and be like, okay, so this person that is harassing me isn't, this individual. It's someone else entirely who is trying to harass this individual. Because they did almost succeed with me. I did almost go after like your job and all this other stuff. I had all these screenshots. I had an entire file set up. It was like, okay, these screenshots go to this person. Yeah. These screenshots go to this person. These screenshots go to here. But me being me, I couldn't send that out in good conscience without first at least trying to talk to you one-on-one alone.
Yeah.
Where like we could actually sit down and hash things out, even if it was just, Even if you did turn out to be a troll and were just gonna sit there and yell at me the whole time, at least I'd have that confirmation, like, "Okay, this is not on my conscience anymore. I can go ahead and do this in order to protect
Yeah.
myself and others." And I
Yeah.
am I am worried about you actually being harassed, because you don't seem like a bad person.
Yeah.
You and I have a few differences of opinion and all this other stuff, but you do genuinely seem like the kind
Mhm.
of person where if I knew you IRL, I wouldn't mind going out and having lunch, or, I wouldn't mind letting you come to my D&D group
Mhm.
or letting you meet my girlfriend or anything. Like, you seem
Mhm.
like a very good person, and I want to see
Yeah.
you succeed. I want to see Deadclaw succeed. I want to see where this goes.
Mhm.
I want to see you actually go on to make something of yourself.
Mhm. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Um, it's just um whole thing though. Speaking of which, uh, oh gosh, trying to think about the trolls and the impersonation is that for anyone else who may be getting who this might happen to in the future and stuff. This, they'll impersonate you, and when they impersonate you, anything that you say, they will say. So,
Right.
like I said, I'm going to get law enforcement involved. That's what they'll say. They're saying, oh, they're getting the FBI involved, they're getting everyone else involved, this and that. And that's literally what have said to
Right.
my team and to my Discord group. And I'm like, I really do feel like there's people in there who are in with this whole thing, the whole trolling thing, and just aren't saying anything, which
Yeah.
we'll find out eventually. And I'm thinking about getting it removed. Anyways, I think that's pretty much all I have on those parts.
Okay. I'd like to go ahead and
For
talk
now,
about
yeah,
how I got roped into this, how it happened to me, stuff like that, if that's
yeah,
okay. Okay.
mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, that's fine.
for those of you that are watching in the future, watching this on YouTube, for those who may be watching this on my Twitch or anything and don't know exactly who I am Brynilder, or Bren for short. I started and run the trans server, the Trans Radical Antifa Nation, which is a server dedicated to outreach and providing community for transgender individuals. And then in addition to that, I also, of course, run my Twitch, which both doubles as my own entertainment platform. For me to upload gaming videos and all this other stuff, but also to do Topic Tuesdays for members of the Tran. Um, so occasionally online, people will mention me to one another and be like, "Oh yeah, you should reach out to Bryn and see if she can help you," because a surprising amount of people that I help are not even in the server or part of my community. They're just people that need help, and I kind of have that reputation as the internet mom. So one day, this was going on
Mm-hmm.
Reddit. I saw that my name had been mentioned in a trans-focused subreddit, and I went to go talk to this individual to see what kind of help I could offer them, to see, if they wanted to join the server, if they wanted me to help outreach, if they wanted me to like help them get in touch with doctors or who else. Um, and while talking about this person on or in the subreddit, another individual started private messaging me. They started to
Mm-hmm.
ask, like, they demanded to be let into the server. It wasn't a question. They messaged me hi, I said hi
Yeah,
back,
and
asked how I could help, and then they just literally responded with, and I actually have it here.
mm-hmm.
Oh, come on, let me pull it up. Okay.
Oh
Okay.
shit.
So they said, um, and of course they went through and like deleted all their stuff, but screenshots are freaking
Yep,
awesome.
that's
Um,
also.
So if you
Mm-hmm.
are being harassed by someone that you think is gay, please make sure to take plenty of screenshots, okay? Um, Hi, I want to be let into the tram. To which I responded with, your post history makes me very hesitant of that because, like, I went through their post history. Um, they
Mm-hmm.
had made several transphobic comments, a few homophobic comments. they had made comments like they had gotten into an argument with some guy, and they had used the fact that this individual happened to wear eyeshadow and makeup as a means to.
Mm-hmm.
They called him a beta male cuck. It's like, okay,
Oh.
wow. But yeah, they had been making homophobic and transphobic comments, some sexist comments, all that other stuff, and I told them I'm not going to let them in. I am not comfortable doing so. But if I can help
Mm-hmm.
them one-on-one, I am definitely willing and able. Um, at that point,
Yep.
they responded that I have to let them in because they're trans. To which I was like, nope, not
Mm-hmm.
doing it. Just because you're trans doesn't mean you get to come into Tran. Like, you have to meet my standards to get into my server. They proceeded to say that they
Mm-hmm.
can't be transphobic because they're trans and all this other stuff, and it's like, okay, at that point, you're just getting
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. Anyone can be transphobic, just like anyone can be homophobic, racist, etc. We are human. And
Yeah.
that's whenever the harassment really started. The next few stream, they would come on, they would make multiple different accounts if one of my mods banned them. They would make comments about how I am grooming children, how I'm forcing them to turn trans, how I'm grooming them for sexual stuff, you know, all this other stuff, threatening to call
Mm-hmm.
CPS and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, one, if you
Yeah.
honestly believe I am grooming children or anything like that, don't threaten to call CPS. Actually do it. You have a moral obligation whenever children are involved to get them to safety. Don't threaten me to do it, just do it. They'll come, they'll investigate, they'll take my
Mm-hmm.
CPU for a bit. Like,
Yeah.
I'm down. I am okay with this. Let them investigate.
Yeah.
But they
And
just
and
kept doing the
and that's
bluff
why
and all this
I
other stuff.
believe that
I'm sorry, what?
that's why I do believe that they are in another country, because if they really are going to call CPS, call police, call this and that, then they should
Right.
prove. And if they can't, then and if they don't, then yeah, it's not in their jurisdiction, so they can't do anything. Nothing that they
Exactly.
can do, at least I think, anyways.
And it's like it would be easy because they know where I
Okay.
work, they know my name. It would be so easy to just call the local police and give them that info
Mm-hmm.
and claim these things, and then they'd have to investigate. But I know that the reason they don't
Yeah.
want to do that is because
Yeah.
if this comes of nothing, and I let them know that I've been harassed, this could lead to a harassment lawsuit or a harassment case, in which case now the police have probable cause to like search
Mm-hmm.
up their IP and all this other stuff. And I'm sure they don't want that.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, after being harassed on Twitch the first time, a individual using the Discord name Fun Guy messaged me telling me that he's
Mm-hmm.
part of your
Yep.
community. You know, he's just watching out for people because he sees how you harass people. He just wants to help us, just wants to protect us, doesn't want you harassing anyone else, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. And he sent me a whole bunch of information he claimed was about you. He sent me some screenshotted stuff, which I actually, after joining your Discord server, I had the opportunity to compare the screenshots he sent me to the parts on your server that this showed up, and I noticed that there were edits. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and he just gave me all this information without backing it up, too. You know, it's like, here's 2 or 3 things that he's gonna back up
Mm-hmm.
with, you know, fake screenshots and all this other stuff. And then here is this other thing that he's not going to back up, and he's just gonna hope I believe it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's how all this started, and it really is just like a mind game kind of thing. Like, I know what he was expecting and what he was intending. Because the more people think you're harassing them, the more
Mm-hmm.
of us are going to try and harass you back, the more of us are gonna jump on the bandwagon, the more of us are gonna try and get, like, police involvement, which is something I had considered. Um, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is the intention. And I am very, very sorry that you have to go through that. I'm sorry for, assuming outright that you were trying to be
Fine.
hostile. Uh, It did take me a while to figure out, like, to find a link to your Discord. It took me a while to figure out, like, all this other stuff, that way I could get in contact with you. So for anyone who's
Yeah.
watching this video in the future, if you are being harassed, you can send me these messages that are being sent to you, these screenshots and whatnot, and I will pass them along to Gabriel here, and I'll let him look at them, and if he thinks that, like, oh, these are legit, this person is definitely being harassed, all this other stuff, and he's comfortable with it, then I will, give you information, that way you can contact him. That way you don't have to jump through all those hoops and play that game of cat and mouse that I had to play in order to track down his info. If you're comfortable with that, of course, Gabe.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's good actually. Yeah, it's absolutely fine with me. Okay. I do want to point out, this would be a good idea, is when I was younger, I wasn't what I was now. When I was younger, which some people would say that it's not your fault you were young, I used to be racist, I used to be, homophobic, used to be all these things.
Right.
And that's because I didn't really understand much, especially the racism, and the reason why on that part was because the neighborhood I lived in at the time, I was getting beat up all the time by, kids my age who were black. And I just, I just didn't like them.
Yeah.
But when I was put into foster care, I was put into several homes with, black families, and that pretty much changed it for me.
Right.
I was like, I don't want to be racist anymore. Because I see their struggles. Sadly, I've seen, people shooting at each other. It was rare, but I did see it at one time when I was younger. I had seen, I just seen like so much, and it's like, these people don't deserve all this hate. They're going through more of a tough time than white people, and they deserve one thing. They deserve what we deserve, and that's equality.
Right.
Everyone who's white, we've always respected, and compared to now, it's I want everyone to be equal. I want the LGBT, any other race out there, I want to be equal, not just one thing, which is why I've decided to get into politics now, along with filming and journalism, because there might be a way that I could help make a difference on equality. And no, I would never become like a fucking president. Fuck that shit. It's too much of excuse my language, but it's too much of a responsibility. I can't do it. But finding a way to end government corruption, which would also be impossible. A lot of these things, I'm saying, will most likely be impossible. But there's got to be ways to fight back, because we should be a country that would be all equal. We shouldn't be hating anyone for who they are. Right. We shouldn't be hating everyone who is a Muslim because they are known to crash planes into buildings or to blow up people or this and that. They shouldn't be known for that.
Right.
There's tons of people out there that I know who are Muslims who are great people.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just this and that stuff, and of course, being homophobic and this and that stuff. It's just because I didn't feel comfortable being around people who are part of the LGBTQ. But of course, as I've grown up, as to now last year, I found I was that stuff had already ended when I did move here to West Virginia. But of course, last year I had just found out that I was pansexual, and now I'm just more focused on keeping everyone, trying to help get everyone to be equal, and especially with the internet too. I want to make the internet a safer place for everyone, and find a way to end scamming from other people, through because it mostly happens through India and Africa, because there's some of the places that are scamming people are in poor countries, which is why they're scamming people, because they need money that, or also if it's from India, there's also a big problem with rich people using other people to do these scams, and so those are the guys who are keeping the cops away and getting these nice cars like a BMW or a Tesla, and this and that.
Right.
Sorry, that was probably too much to bring up, but I just want to make everything a better place now that I'm 19 years old and realize that, man, this shit's fucked up. I got to do something.
Please watch your language.
That's the that is the goal here. And this, with this too, people coming to me or my team, as long as they're going to us about this information, that will help make the internet a better place, because we can give this information that we're given, we can use to convince other people that I'm being impersonated, this and that. Do not believe anything this person says. I have all the evidence I can provide in the whole universe that this is not me.
Right.
And given that, they will know they're part of, now they're, basically know that, I'm not a bad person, that I'm being genuine, and, this and that.
Right. So I kind of want to pull the subject back in a little bit. If you're comfortable with it, I would actually like to discuss the kind of effects that this has had on you, because I've been harassed before.
Oh yeah.
Especially involving my past, because I make no effort to hide the fact that I did used to be a literal Nazi. I don't hide that. That is something that I was. I was in a very bad place in my life. I was trying to hurt others so that I wouldn't have to be hurt. All this other stupid stuff. I've grown since then. I have changed. I am not that person anymore. And people still bring up some of the stuff that I did and that I said. And some of it is legitimate critique. Like, yes, you did this. And I'm like, you're right, I did. And I'm sorry. And I can't really make up for that. But then some of it is like, well, you were a Nazi once. You're always going to be a Nazi. You're always going to have these views and all this other stuff. And that makes it, they remove away from us the possibility to change, to grow. And I think everyone has that ability, which is why whenever I'm trolled, whenever someone harasses me, I always try to reach out to them, because 9 times out of 10, there is something pretty bad going on in their life that they're trying to bring into focus and that they're trying to make sense of. And I have made a lot of former enemies into very close friends through being able to reach out to people and help them with their problems. And so I would like to talk about the effect this has had on you, how you've handled this, the kind of stuff that it's put you through, stuff like that, if you're comfortable.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll be glad to talk about that. So this whole drama has a big effect into my mental health and physical health. Well, more mental health though. So because of this, I was still in school. I was still in school during this time of these trolls coming in and being doing, just impersonating me and saying all these awful things about me that aren't even true, and just being awful like they always are. And because of this, I was getting really bad thoughts in my head. I was feeling extremely suicidal. That's why I have animals too, because animals help me cope with all the problems. Anyways, but yeah, I was overly suicidal. I ended up cutting myself a lot. And I will, obviously, as everyone would say, that they do regret, for those who have in the past or whatever, they have to be reminded of these, the scars every day. Most of them will say that they regret them, and I truly do. And every day is a bit of a struggle too, because there are times where it's I just really want to, cut myself, and it's no, I'm not gonna do it. And then there's even times where I'm hesitant, I have the knife in my hand, I'm going to do it, but then I'm hesitant, I don't want to do it. And it's just been an on and off thing, because when I first cut myself in August, of last year. Well, it was not really the first time. I mean, I've cut myself before, but first when I'd been on my own, I'd cut myself, and luckily I got away with flying because in the state of West Virginia, if I were actually wanting to kill myself, they would have to put me in an institution for a bit just to make sure I'm fine. And well, I'm not sure how long that really is. I've heard awful things about these places. Anyways, but yeah, I cut myself because of this whole thing, and I didn't realize how sharp the knife was, and because I thought it was a dull knife, and it was a brand new one apparently. And I'd cut myself, and it was bad. It was. I'm not even. I shouldn't get into detail. It was just really bad. I ended up having to go to the hospital. I just told him that I was cooking because also during the time I'd cut myself, that it was around the time I did eat my dinner, because it was like the only time of the day I ate.
Yeah.
And I just told him that I sneezed cutting a tomato, and I guess they bought that, which I feel like they would like. No, he definitely didn't, but just let me go because they maybe didn't want to deal with it or something.
Right.
But in those meantime, I have called the suicide hotline number, of course, just to help me ease down on wanting to commit suicide. And even now, it's now just an on and off thing instead of just being constantly suicidal. Today I am absolutely fine, but maybe in a few hours, or maybe tomorrow, maybe even next week, maybe even a week, maybe a month. Right. I just said week and next week. That made no sense. I could be feeling suicidal for absolutely no reason, being emotional even, and usually it just, and then there's days, even in my sleep where I wake up and I'm just crying for no reason, and then I feel like sometimes I feel like if I just do it right now, it would take away all this pain. I wouldn't have to worry about feeling like this. I would be fine. I know that everyone else wouldn't be fine, but I would be at peace finally. I wouldn't be feeling all this pain, that is happening now. And it's, until, like I said, right now it's still that constant struggle of wanting to stay alive. And it's also the thing of if anyone would actually care, because and I know this shouldn't even be a thing, but like, a lot of people, a lot of my friends and family know that I have these issues, and that I'm honestly lucky to be living by myself, because some people believe that I shouldn't be if I'm like this. Mm-hmm. But most people everyone that I know, and there's like a few people, you do too, when you check on me a good bit, and I appreciate you. Appreciate you very much for that. No, everyone else who I'm supposed to that I'm supposed to trust and this and that, it's like nobody checks on me, even though one day, and then also speaking of that, it's like I feel like one day, I'm gonna end up killing myself, and it's gonna take like so long for them to discover my body, or because I feel like that nobody really does care, even though they say. Yeah. And then it's like that one saying that's been going on for years, since like this problem has gone on, is oh gosh, what was it? Nobody really cares for you until something bad happens, as in this, and that's why I do believe that there are just some people that you grew up with, and it's not just don't really care, and it's just
right. And I guess
but anyway, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Gabe, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Trying to think. Anyway, so fast forward to all that stuff. In March of this year, I ended up dropping out of school because it was just getting too much.
Right.
Pressure. I know I was already missing school a lot because of this, because of all these trolls coming on and doing this, and that's when I did start drinking. And I drink still a little bit, but not a whole lot like I used to. And just because there was nothing I could do to stop this, because they were always people were always telling me to ignore them, and obviously that hasn't even helped, because it would be weeks to even a month, and they would come back and say that I've done this and that, and it's
right.
just ridiculous.
I get that.
And
as someone who is harassed somewhat regularly, sadly, I will say that ignoring the problem, for me personally, also doesn't help. But what I found is on my server, I have encouraged this culture of taking what you can out of the situation to help yourself and then letting the rest of it go. Because, like, for instance, if someone makes me mad, that anger belongs to me. I get to do with that anger what I want. That is my anger now. And so I'll use it to help myself out, to get something accomplished, I'll use it as a fertilizer of sorts. But I'm not going to sit there and let it fester in me. I'm not going to sit there and let it, all this other stuff. And like some of the screenshots that I showed you from my server whenever I was being actively harassed, rather than being treated like, oh, this is a terrible, terrible thing, the members on my server met this troll with compassion and concern, like, oh, I hope this person is okay. Oh, I hope this person gets into a better mental spot so that they don't harass you anymore. And that is actually something that I would like to kind of pass on to you, is a possibility of taking this and using it for yourself. Like, instead of being like, oh, these trolls are harassing me, they're coming after me, all this other stuff, which they definitely are. I would honestly run with it, be like, oh, wow, these are my #1 fans. Thank you, guys. Make memes out of it. Make YouTube videos about it, track down the people that are being harassed like you and I are, and talk to them, have streams with them, connect to other people. And I think it would go a long way to helping your mental health too, because you are genuinely a very, very nice young man, and I am happy to talk to you. I was actually very surprised that you were this, patient and kind and stuff.
Yeah. I just, with me trying to change and become a better person, and I know that last year we lost a crew member because of all this.
Right.
He was actually a writer, and he wrote the pilot scripts for us on the TV show. And I had someone who I didn't think was a troll, become an admin, and when I had done that, he had the N-word. Like, when people left, it said, this person has left, you effing N-word, and I didn't know, and I should have known. I should have paid more attention.
Right.
Anyways, he was in our Discord server. His name is Mike. He was in our server, and I was doing a skit with a friend on another server, and so I had to change my name to something that represented a the South, and then that wasn't, like, it wasn't anything racist or anything.
Right.
It was just, I can do a pretty terrible Southern accent, and so I did that, and then the rebel flag, and because of that, he asked me about it, and I was like, oh, I was just, we're working on me and a friend were working on a skit for just comedy sketch on the on YouTube, and wherever else we could post it. And he's like, okay, he asked me to change it, and I said that was absolutely fine. I can do that, because it was already done. I had just forgotten about it. And then of course when people left, it did that, and that's what I said.
Are you okay?
Yep. Anyways, he and that's what set him off, and I felt so bad. And now he is white, but he knows people who have
right
gone into situations where they've been harassed by police officers, how they've been harassed by other white people who are racist,
Right.
and getting death threats and this and that, saying the N words directly to them and all that. And I explained to him that that there was a troll in the server and that he was removed, and that I apologize and stuff. But then it just wasn't enough for him to to stay. And he's like, "I'm sorry, I gotta be off the project." And then the thing is like, even though he's gone, we're still making him part of the project, no matter what. As the writer, we'll put that in the credits because he still did that for us, and just being an asshole and taking it, not giving him any credit whatsoever is just wrong. And we also don't want to end up like another Friday the 13th by not giving him any credit, and then we get into a lawsuit for like 10 years or so.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I definitely understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I know that, like, for me, being a trans woman from the Deep South,
Mm-hmm.
things like the rebel flag, the Punisher logo, like,
Mm-hmm.
there are things that I've learned over time to look out for, that I've learned
Mm-hmm.
to associate, like, oh, if they have this, or they use these mannerisms or these kinds of jokes, these are the kind of people I need to be wary of, and I need to try to avoid a little bit, because I have experienced
Mm-hmm.
that these people are the kind that will harass me.
Yeah.
If there's a person with a, say, Blue Lives Matter, though I work medical, I work with police officers that are very kind, very nice, that, I know a trans police officer. If I see a truck driving down the road that has Blue Lives Matter, I'm going to be very hesitant to be near that person, because there is a very good chance, due to where I live and the stuff associated with that, that they will harass me. Same for the Punisher logo, the rebel flag,
Yeah.
These are
And
things that make a lot of
speaking
people uncomfortable, and I get that.
Speaking of the Punisher symbol, which that pisses me off more than the because people have used the rebel flag for racism, homophobia, and pretty much everything that will offend anyone. They've used that.
Right.
And the reason why the Punisher logo pisses me off, that they're using that for also racism, is that Punisher is one of those Marvel characters that I like, and his whole thing is pretty much revenge, and he's a vigilante.
Right.
He in superheroes, because he's really an anti-hero. Superhero, anti-hero, even some supervillains, superheroes are meant to be good. Using in their symbols are meant to be good.
Right.
Punisher's symbol is supposed to represent that if you see this symbol, you better fucking run, because the Punisher is about to come after you. Sorry, I have a swearing problem. Anyways,
okay.
In using it for, if you see this symbol in public, you better run, because someone's going to start calling you the N-word, or probably pull out a gun and shoot you for no exact reason.
Right.
And it shouldn't be about that.
Yeah.
And with me, I'm a big person when it comes to symbols. Symbols are supposed to mean something, sometimes mean something good, and using the Punisher as that is not good. And honestly, Marvel should step up and do something about it. Anyways.
Right, and I get that, and I do hate that it is associated with that, especially because, like, if I'm pulled over by a cop, if they don't have the Punisher logo, I'm just like, okay, I just need to, try my best not to get shot. I'll be fine. But if it does, like, if their car has that decal on it, I'm not going in there with the assumption of, like, oh, this is your typical cop who might have an ego problem. I go in it with, oh god, I'm probably gonna die. Please, God, don't kill me. Like,
yeah,
it's
and I can understand that completely. Yeah, I get that. And you have the right to fear, because of how people have been abusing the symbol. Like the rebel flag. They're trying to, and I understand that they're trying to get that out of schools and stuff. But I think it is important to still learn about it, because it is something that happened, and it's something that you never know, could happen again, another civil war.
Right.
And it's even ridiculous is that some people believe that the rebels were, some of the kids I know who are my friends believe that the rebel flag was on the good side, but it definitely was not.
Right.
They were for the racists. Abraham Lincoln was, wanting to, stop slavery, yeah.
And I do get
it,
that. It's all about context and stuff like that. And like, I wanted to be a history professor. Before I went into medical, that was my goal, was to teach history, because I love history. I love it all so much. And I do think it's important to put things in their proper context. I don't want the rebel flag to be erased from history. I want the Confederate flag to be given the proper context. I want people to know this was the flag of the racist individuals whose entire constitution revolved around, when they seceded from the USA, it revolved around insisting and enforcing that people of color were inferior to white individuals.
Yeah.
There is no question about it. You can't, this isn't a argument to be made, because there is no argument there. We have the documents.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with a lot of those racist statues and whatnot. They weren't put up during the Civil War. They were put up far, far after it as an assertion of, we still won in the end. Like, that's the way it's treated here in the South. And I don't want this stuff to be abolished from history. I want it to be given the proper context needed to learn from it, to view it as it should have been viewed from the beginning, and so that we don't repeat these mistakes. One of my server kids, Melody, makes a point. I remember ContraPoints in one of her videos talked about how people use the Punisher symbol, and that being ironic since the comics sort of portray how the pursuit of revenge with no conclusion is pointless. When lots of people who use it are just like, yes, revenge is good, yes. And then she goes on to state that was just her interpretation, but she thought it was interesting. And Melody, I think you have a great, great point there. A lot of people like to use these symbols, and they like to usurp them and try and force new context on them and stuff like that. That way they can use it for stuff. And of course, symbols change over time, just like, the swastika and stuff like that. Used to be a symbol for good, and now it is very, very clearly a symbol for evil. Context should always be given. We should never ignore the roots of anything. And it really does suck that this character has been usurped and is being used by individuals to try and punish. Because I remember actually trying to become a cop at one point, and one of my goals was like, I want to retire years from now without ever having shot anyone, without ever having to take a life. I want to have the reputation of, oh, I am the cop that is super friendly and nice, and whose whole goal is to help their community. Needless to say, it didn't work out well, and I did not become a cop. Because they don't want that. They want people that will enforce the status quo and will actively seek to keep things the way they are, instead of promoting change and community. And all of us, every single one of us, deserve better. I hope that anyone who comes after me can avoid the pitfalls, and I hope that I can leave a trail for them so that they can get to the end of my trail a lot easier than it was for me, and then they can go a lot further than I ever did. I want people who come after me to stand on my shoulders and reach way higher than I ever could. And I think that would be the most beautiful thing for everyone.
And that's understandable too. And like I've said, I just want everything to be equal. And then I know that's going to be nearly impossible, but we are supposed to be this generation that's supposed to supposedly make the world a better place, but we aren't doing so well, with cancel culture, of course, all these politics being stupid, all of the I am starting to believe that each generation are going to get dumber and dumber, and that sounds rude, I know.
Right.
But because some schools are going with computers, kids should be learning through physical, not virtually. Now, maybe like if it's like a snow day or something like that, that's fine. But they should have all like a computer at home, not a laptop that they have to bring to school and then go home to mess around on anything. Because I tested my school, with the whole laptops thing, and I went on websites that you're not supposed to go on, and I kept doing it to prove my point that these laptops are not a good thing. This is not because when I was homeschooled a while back, and when I was, it messed up my schooling very much. And honestly, I should have been in kindergarten. It restarted my whole school because after I continued, the damage was already done. I wasn't learning anything, I was terrible at everything. I'm not good at math, not good at anything, and I guess that's what developed because of doing that. That's what developed a learning disability. So because of that, now I'm basically screwed.
Right.
For the rest of my life. I mean, yeah, I'll have a good job with filming and this and that, but it's not going to be the same,
Right.
But yeah, I do believe that schools need to stop using computers, and especially with the whole trolling thing too, because that's also dangerous. Kids can learn to get bypass the firewall these computers have, or that they have on these computers, so that way they can access Discord, Facebook, and this and that, and then get bullied. They get the IP address while they're at school. A troll does. They can dox the school and say that this kid wants to shoot up the school or something else like that. And it's a terrible idea.
Right. And these are valid concerns.
Yeah, very much.
So we are at the 1 hour mark, and we've been talking about some heavy things. Before we continue on, so Gabe, I'm about to say something. I don't mean this as a slight against you whatsoever.
This is fine.
Just a reminder, Gabe and I don't share every opinion. So, on cancel culture and stuff like that, he and I have differing opinions and whatnot. So, yeah. But, I do want to reiterate that after talking with him one-on-one, he is a person that wants to help others. He is open to change. He is open to growth. He does seem like a very good individual. So, I do just want to point that out to my audience, because my audience and I have, very specific certain views on a lot of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, he and I don't share all of our views, but please don't harass him. Stuff like that, of course, goes without saying. So before we close off, because these streams are always stream of consciousness, I never go in without a script. I was thinking we could talk about something a lot more lighthearted, a lot less deep and all that other stuff, and kind of leave off on a high note. So I was thinking if you'd like to talk about some of the more funny things about Deadclaw, what it's been like, creating that or working with people to get that done, some of the funny things that have happened, we can talk about that. Or we could talk about differing things that we've happened in our lives that are just really funny that both you and I, as well as all of my viewers, can kind of connect with. I will leave that option up to you, of course.
Yeah, we can do that, yeah.
Which would you like to do?
We'll do the second option. That sounds more appropriate. That way everyone can be involved with that too.
Okay. Something I know you can connect with, because you've talked about how everything you've been going through has had a negative effect on your mental health and physical health. I remember whenever I was a teenager and I wasn't... So it took me a long time to come to terms with being a transgender individual. Even though my best friend and now partner is actually also trans. And I gave him complete and total support. Well, one of my partners. Um, so I remember how much like all of this negative stuff, like being unable to come to terms with the fact that I was LGBT and all this other stuff, had such
Mhm.
a negative effect on like my health and everything. And like by the time I graduated high school, I was this big 300 plus pound guy with a giant beard and like all this other stuff. And I was known for being able to just pick people up because like a lot of it wasn't fat. A lot of it was just like, oh, I'm depressed. I can't be depressed if I'm working out. So I'm going to go do
Mhm.
that. Um, and I think it's really funny in retrospect who I was coming out of high school, the kind of edgy teen that I was,
Mhm.
where I was at as a Nazi whenever I was like 13, 14, you know, where I thought I was going to be years from now. I never would have predicted this, no one ever really knows where they're going to be. And I do think
Mhm.
it's really funny that like little edgelord me who went through all this stuff and was constantly depressed would find my happiness in this way. What about you, Gabe? Are you like really surprised with like where you are versus where you thought you'd be a few years ago?
Pretty much, yeah. Honestly, I did not think I would even make it this far. With this, despite all other negative crap. Um, I've been. Hold on.
Take your time.
It's not good. Anyways, because like with the TV show going on, it's been going on for a year, and I didn't think we would even. I mean, by this time, I thought I'd be quick. I'm also known to give up easily, and
Yeah.
um, the fact that we are, still moving forward. We're trying our best to get, backers to back the fundraiser and stuff like that. I didn't ever think we would get this far. I mean, yeah, we still haven't met the official goal, but I mean, we're getting somewhere along the way.
Right. Well, that's really awesome.
Mhm.
I really look forward to seeing your project to completion. Um, I'd love for you to keep me updated.
Oh yeah.
And I intend to keep checking on you. I hope that we can keep talking. I hope that we can become friends. I'd love to
Yeah.
see where you end up years from now.
Hmm.
I hope that we can talk more about like our differing opinions because I feel like both you and I have grown a lot from actually talking one on one about some of these heavier
Hmm.
things. And yeah, it really has been a pleasure talking to you and getting to meet you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for doing this with me and,
Hmm.
helping me clear the air and get everything set out. And you've helped me set a great example with my community. This could have gone so wrong, could have gone in so many different ways. We could have started a feud, started harassing, it could have gone in so many different ways. I'm
Hmm.
so happy that like I came into this being harassed. And I don't know if I'm going to keep being harassed, but I'm happy I get to leave this with a new friend.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Hmm.
thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. If you are a member of the trans server, please remember that we will be doing server restructure today, so you may see some of the channels gone. And in order to gain access to those, you will have to have certain rules. For instance, only the vent viewers can view vent, only furries will be able to see the furry channels, only RPers will be able to see the RP channels. In addition to that, just a reminder, the movie night this week will still be on Saturday, and we will be watching Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And there was another announcement I was going to make. Oh, right. Cool news. So the individual that has been making a lot of the merch for the server and everything, I got them making a new line of stuff for Halloween and winter themed stuff. So please keep an eye out for that. We will be launching the online store soon. So with that, I'm gonna let y'all go. Gabe, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your